Hello, everyone. This is Heidi with Downtown NorCal Live. If you have children who might listen in, this would be a good day to pause and listen later because I'm going to be talking with a doctor about women's sexual health. Joining me today is Dr. Michael Reed and Nicole Pardee, and they are on Anderson Road in Davis. Welcome, you two.
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for
Thanks.
having us.
Yeah, we're great to be here.
So a lot of women know Dr. Goodman in town, and you are an associate with him. Can you talk about that relationship?
Yeah, so that relationship began about 2 years ago. I took one of his courses and kind of fell in love with the whole genital plastics as well as menopausal health. We then later met at another conference where I was kind of just learning more information and gathering information. We ran into each other again, and it kind of really just seemed like a friendship or a bond kind of started. And I originally was planning on doing this type of work in Nebraska, where I practiced that for 20 years, and I've delivered almost 5,000 babies. And I've been caring for women for all my life, and thought that I would be doing it in Nebraska. But then Dr. Goodman offered the opportunity for me to come out here to Davis, and kind of gives me the opportunity to kind of come back home, because originally I'm from Southern California, and so coming to Northern California was almost getting back to home, getting back to good weather, but I sure didn't have forgotten about these fires. My goodness, that has been something crazy. And this COVID has been just overwhelmingly tough for everybody.
Well, I'm really glad you raised the point about COVID because I think people are starting to open up about their long-term impacts. We thought this might be short, but it's turned out to be much longer than I think any of us anticipated, this sheltering in place and stress. So how does COVID impact women's sexual health?
Well, I think it impacts it one or two ways. Either one, we're having more sex, or two, we're having no sex at all because we're so stressed out about all the other difficulties the treatment for COVID brings, being isolated. We're human beings. We like to have friendships. We like to touch. We like to interact with each other. And so we get frustrated and don't really know how to engage with each other when we're around each other 24/7. Because I think in some relationships where there may be less intercourse, they may have outsourced intimacy before COVID. So many times you have friends that you might go shopping with, or you have a friend that you might go to a bar with, and they kind of feel that intimacy that you may not necessarily get from your partner. But now your intimacy needs are at home. You can't really engage with those friends like you did in the past. And so I generally recommend that the first thing is really getting an understanding of what you need as a person to feel intimate. And that might be sharing cooking skills and cooking with each other, but really taking the time to figure out what will make you happy, and then being able to communicate that with your partner. And if your partner can reciprocate that by allowing your partner to also share what he or she needs, and you guys have a relationship of reciprocity, then there develops an emotional intimacy over time. And so that's kind of what I encourage people to do. At my house, we actually turn off social media. We at around 8:30. We can, text friends and that kind of thing. But my wife and I, we there's a lot of good Netflix series that we watch, and spend a lot of time just getting to know each other, laughing and talking, and it's been in that regard, I think my relationship has been stronger, and that's just being in touch with yourself and understanding what your personal needs are, and being able to share that with your partner.
As we age, women tend to have, we have babies, then you throw gravity in. You offer a number of surgical procedures. And so asking for a friend, what is vaginal rejuvenation?
Yeah, vaginal rejuvenation is a beautiful term. It can mean so many things. And so for some, vaginal rejuvenation is laser therapy. For others, vaginal rejuvenation is labiaplasty, which is actually removing excess skin from the labia minora or that of the labia majora. Others may say that vaginal rejuvenation is actually tightening of the vagina and allowing for greater friction during intercourse and increasing your ability to have vaginally activated orgasms. So vaginal rejuvenation is not really a great word, but it kind of encompasses a whole lot of things. And so a lot of times what I have to do is kind of dig out from the patient what vaginal rejuvenation means to them, and then see how I can help them. It could be as simple as, vaginal rejuvenation could be as simple as I have dryness now that I have never experienced before. And if I can get rid of that dryness and lubricate like I used to, then that would be considered vaginal rejuvenation for that patient. And that's probably a patient that I would use bioidentical hormones, whether it be creams, FDA approved medications, or even pellets. And so vaginal rejuvenation is like an encompassing word that kind of is a word that allows patients to feel comfortable in saying, I need my vaginal area rejuvenated. And then you kind of spend some time to listen and ask, and you can slowly begin to see as they trust you and get to know you a little bit through the short consultation, they begin to share what exactly that means to them. And then I try to figure out how I can help them with that being either labioplasty, hormones, vaginoplasty, which is vaginal tightening. We also have O-shot, which is regenerative medicine, where we're able to take growth factors from yourself via IV, introduce them into the G spot or G area or Grafenberg spot, and allow for that area to get larger. And if that area is larger, then you're more likely to have vaginally activated orgasms. So we spend a lot of time covering a lot of these different services that we provide here.
The services that you provide are extensive, and I wanted to ask Nicole Party, your manager, your patient navigator, about insurance and costs.
Absolutely, Nicole.
Sure. So insurance can be a tricky situation, but we've been doing this so long that we've come to realize, what they cover and what they don't. So Dr. Reed accepts a couple of different insurances, Aetna and Cigna, so we can build the insurance for the parts of the surgical procedure that are covered, the medically necessary parts. The cosmetic parts, we cannot bill them for, and so we would charge the patient fee for service out of pocket for those things. And we can go over that with them in detail when they're here. We go over their quote with them, and we can break all of that down and let them know what they're responsible for and what their insurance will cover. And then for those parts where they are responsible, we take all different forms of payment. We provide cash discounts, check discounts. We take all credit cards, and then we also accept Care Credit, which is a really great medical credit card. A lot of patients have that. Once you have it, you can use it anywhere that accepts it. So we like that one. We also do United Medical Credit and MedLoan Finance. So there are a lot of different options, and we just try to find the right one, for that particular patient, their budget, their needs.
Okay. Now, Dr. Reed, you mentioned you came on board here in Davis 7 months ago. Now, that's awfully coincidental to our shutdown. So how has business been? What has been the trajectory?
It's starting to improve. I mean, I think, when we first got here in late March and everything was closing down, obviously we followed the rules, and there weren't a lot of interaction with patients. Patients were scared to go anywhere. And then I think just as the world got a better understanding of what COVID is and what the realities of COVID are, patients kind of started coming out of their shell and seeking some services. And I think the services actually have increased significantly these last month, 4 to 6 weeks, where now patients are kind of more savvy, where they can actually work from home, recover at the same time, and there's no need for explanation for anything that's been done down below. So patients are getting savvy, and we're actually starting to see a lot more patients.
Yeah, it's seeming like it's just patients are seeing it's a good time to have surgery. They're home, and they can, have their recovery and not have to worry about taking work off. So it works out.
This makes a lot of sense, the timing of it all. I also wanted to ask you both, feel free to answer, whoever would like to take this one, but we talk about women's empowerment. And so I want to just get into that a little bit with you. How do you view your services as empowering women?
Well, I think empowerment is can be from a number of things. Having awareness of different options that are available to you is empowering. Another thing that I do particularly different that I think is empowering is that we use a device called mobile ODT. And so I have a device that I actually place in front of the perineum, and I'm able to project it to a television screen. And the patients are able to see their anatomy in a way that they've probably never experienced before. So I find that would be empowering. I
Yeah,
think,
they're learning.
yeah,
You're teaching them things that surprisingly enough, grown women are like, I never knew that. I never knew it looked like that. I never knew it was called that. I never even knew what it was for. So you often see them when we're there chaperoning him in an exam, that they are they're just blown away with these things that they can't believe that they have never been told by a physician before.
and I think also, which is empowering, is you know, one of the things that I found as I gotten older is that, there's a lot of resources out there for me as far as if I need any kind of ED medication or I need testosterone replacement. We're in a day and age now that women should be able to demand these same kind of treatments and be empowered in such a way that if they have concerns about their sexual health, they don't have to just live with it anymore. They can find a physician like myself and tackle those problems and regain their sexual activity just as they were in their 20s. I mean, sex is great. We all know that. And so it's not just men anymore. It's women as well. And they should have the opportunity to do whatever they wish to do to themselves or to improve themselves. And I think what we do is empowering for women.
Yeah.
All the services that we
Yeah.
provide are such.
I love that answer. Thank you so much for that. And speaking of your patients, what is the average age, or let's just do an age range? What are all the ages you would see? And then secondarily, what is the most common procedure that you're performing these days?
Okay, so age range can be as young as 14. There are women that have, young women after they've reached puberty, may have labia minora, small lips that are just so large that it's interfering with physical activity, that's interfering with school and sports. And so we see those patients accompanied by their mothers. And it's surprising how many women really do well after this procedure and feel a lot better. And the procedure I'm talking about is labioplasty. So we see them as young as 14, 15. The oldest person that has labioplasty in this office is 81. I think 81. And we do menopausal health too. We're experts in that. And so we see women from the whole gamut, from 14 to 85. It doesn't matter. We want to care for you. And I forget the second half of your question. What was
Most
the
common
most common procedure? I would say the most common procedure is probably labioplasty. My favorite procedure is probably vaginoplasty, and that's just vaginal tightening. And the reason why I like that is because it restores function, it restores appearance, and it enhances pleasure. And so getting the feedback from women that have had this procedure and having had children, and now they feel their partner like they had prior to having children, and just experiencing orgasms they haven't felt before, and just being more confident about how things are, it's very rewarding, and it feels good that I'm able to do that. And it kind of just goes along with my history of caring for women and the feeling I would get when I would deliver babies. And now that I'm older, this feeling gives me that same pleasure as well. And so that's probably my favorite procedure.
This has been really eye-opening, and I have to say, even before I was interviewing you, just reading your website I learned a lot doing that. So I would encourage everyone to go there.
Yeah.
What is the website, Nicole?
It's www.drmichaelreed.com.
Okay, great. All right, I have been spending the last few minutes with Dr. Michael Reed. He is almost brand new to Davis. Welcome, by the way.
Thank you so much for having me.
And his office manager, Nicole Party, and they specialize in women's sexual health. And Dr. Reed, just to wrap up, you, when Dr. Goodman retires, you will be taking over. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be taking over his practice. That's correct.
Okay. Well, welcome again, and thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I'll see everyone tomorrow.